Showtime!
Ladies and gentlemen, please make your way to your seats.
Showtime!
Please make your way to your seats. The show is about to begin.
Showtime!
Let the magic begin.
Breaking ground. New artificial life creation. What's going on here?
Yeah, so this is another one, the really cool concept. So there's been groundbreaking research that's been conducted by scientists at the Salk Institute for Biological Studies. And what their work has done is it's brought us one step closer to understanding the origins of life on Earth and potentially creating artificial life in the laboratory, clones. So the research team led by Gerald Joyce, I think I'm pronouncing that right, who's the president of the Salk Institute, what they've done is they've created an RNA molecule capable of accurately copying other types of RNA, which results in a functioning enzyme. The achievement, what it's based on, is the theory that RNA was the initial ingredient in the so-called primordial soup before the existence of DNA or proteins. So for all of those who don't believe in Darwinism or anything like that, I apologize. It's not about belief in Darwinism. Who don't accept Darwinism, I apologize. This probably isn't up your alley, but so the thing is, the thing to talk that in this article is, while the lab-made RNA molecule, it's not yet self-replicating, it does represent a milestone in the quest to recreate the conditions that may have given rise to early life on Earth. If self-replicating RNA can be achieved, it would be considered a form of life. And this is stated by Joyce, and I didn't really fact check that, but I'm going to take him at his word for this one. So the key to success in this research, it lies in finding the right balance between replication accuracy and mutation, because RNA must make extremely close copies of the original molecule for Darwinian evolution to occur. However, exact replication alone is not sufficient. So as mutations are necessary for growth and development, researchers found that this balance, by creating an RNA replicator molecule, which has the ability to chop molecules, could present challenges in finding that balance. So the implications of this research are far-reaching. It opens up new avenues for studying the earliest stages of evolution origins on life, which is really, really cool. But it also raises the possibility of creating synthetic life forms. What was that movie with, what was it, Replicants? No, I can't remember.
Which one?
The one with surrogates. Yeah.
Yep.
This could be the surrogates. This could be the path to surrogacy or to surrogates. So it could have applications in fields such as medicine and biotechnology, which is really cool.
So they talk about, if RNA is created that is able to replicate itself, then it would be alive. So we talked about self-replicating DNA robots and nanobots, but they weren't RNA based. So combining what we know here and what we've talked about in past around, these self-replicating structures that can fold and do different things.
Yeah.
How close are we able to applying that to RNA?
So I believe, based on, and again, I'm not an expert in this field, but folding is a key part of this. And so I'm not sure if the research that we talked about in the previous article is going to help, but the concepts from that research are being used in these experiments, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's specific here saying, it has to be, almost identical copies, but starts to get fuzzy, like a multiple photocopier of a machine. So you got to wonder what that becomes. Does this lead to the gray blob on the floor?
Yeah, well, not only that though, it's a fine line, because in order for evolution to occur, mutation has to happen. And so they can't, it can't be an exact copy every single time, but it also can't mutate every single time. So that is a huge challenge from what I read, as far as them being able to replicate this and to scale this and for this to continue forward, if that makes sense.
Am I the only one concerned about this? Like, if the error rate is too high, you can't maintain the genetic information, it just blows up. So this is like every sci-fi nightmare we've seen, you know, the person just blows up.
Exactly. Yeah, and this is exactly this is exactly anyone's horror or nightmares come to life here. Anything that you've seen in sci-fi movies, this is it. And the cool thing though, and this is, I watched a video before. Sci-fi movies have driven a lot of this research. Like the Jurassic Park movie has driven people to try to pull and reanimate or to replicate dinosaurs. Like there's all of these concepts. A lot of them are are stitched into most of the sci-fi movies that are out there.
So they use this technique called hammerhead RNA, which chops molecules when the replicator module does its thing on the hammerhead RNA for each new generation. Like, I don't. This scares the crap out of me. At first, it looked a little. I looked on it as a little bit jaw dropping. Says the research. It's super
Yeah.
researcher. It's super neat. So they're working on this stuff in labs, trying to get this stuff to replicate itself.
Yeah. So yeah, and just for those that want to know, I did some quick research. Hammerhead RNA, it refers to a class of non-coding RNA molecules that fold into a unique 3-helix structure, which resembles a hammerhead, which is why they're calling it hammerhead RNA. So they're naturally occurring class of structured non-coding RNA that can self-cleave through specific activity, and they play diverse biological roles. So and yeah.
So I just follow the link here. You know, this is interesting. Synthetic life and the value of life. If humans eventually attain the ability to create new life forms, how will it affect the value of life? Which is a very interesting question.
Yeah, there's so many ethical questions that come up from this, like playing God. Um, so like whether humans have the right to play God by designing and manipulating living systems, unintended consequences. So the creation of artificial life carries the risk of unintended consequences, such as accidental release of engineered organisms into the environment or the evolution of these organisms in unexpected and potentially harmful ways. Ownership and control, autonomy and moral status, societal impacts, dual use, public trust. Like there's so much that scares the living crap out of me from this.
Yeah, and again, we're gonna jump back to the regular stuff other than the ethical implications, but I'd like to just talk
Yeah.
about this. So the main conclusion of this study was that it's unlikely that a future human ability to create life will have a great negative impact on these characteristics of life. Therefore, unlikely the value will be negative affected to if we create synthetic life. So go ahead, go nuts.
Yeah.
We don't think it's going to negatively affect us. So
Obviously, they're going to say that, though.
I know that's why it just makes me laugh when you're like,
Yeah.
who believes this stuff, right?
Yeah. Who believes that it's not going to affect our lives at all, right? Like, yeah, this is really scary stuff. I'm curious to see. So whenever I see something like this, I always question: is there technology that's even further advanced that they're just not covering? That's more that's hidden, or that's in stealth mode, right?
You would have to assume there is.
Yeah.
But what is it and how far along it is, who knows?
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about the military did the men who stare at goats program. That was a real thing. they spend a
Yeah.
whole bunch of money on, so they're doing stuff.
Yeah. There's so
What
many. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
There's so many CIA documents that are being declassified that just scare the living crap out of me as to what experiments they've done. And so if that stuff is being declassified, then what is still classified and what is still happening? Again, we could turn this show into a conspiracy show.
Well, again, I mean, yeah, sure, we could go and talk about all the rumors and stuff out there, but it's not conspiracy to say that governments and organizations are testing new technology and bio and whatever in labs. Like, of course they are. They're all doing it. Just a question of what. I mean, the pharmaceutical companies are testing new drugs all the time. I'm not suggesting they're Resident Evil, whatever that corporation is trying to kill everybody. I'm saying
Umbrella
this experiment. Yeah, Umbrella. Yeah. I'm saying that, that this stuff is happening, and the tech stuff. We talked about the super soldier stuff they've been working on. These things are happening. It's just a question of how far along they are, how much money it's getting, that kind of stuff. It's not necessarily conspiracy theory unless you go down deep and say this specific thing is happening and it's causing these other things. That they're doing the scientific research to increase military, to increase, talked about, the quantum advantage. They want advantage in all these things. And if they can create artificial life, that's another thing that we can get an advantage of. So what are some of the technological advances that will be needed to scale up production of self-replicating RNA?
Yeah, so some research that I've done, there's quite a few, and I'll just list them out. I won't get into the details of them, but they're going to need improved RNA synthesis methods. They're going to need better purification and characterization techniques, which all of this stuff sounds like quantum could help with. But anyways, they're going to need enhanced stability and delivery systems. They're going to need integration. They're going to need to figure out integration with other biological systems. And again, this talks to the quantum stuff, advanced computational tools. And obviously, once all of that's done, they're going to need a scalable manufacturing process, which is that's the part that actually scares me the most, is when they start to scale it, because that's when you can have the problems. That's when you can run into the big problems, right? The mutants and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, we've been trained to fear the worst, but sometimes, reality is worse than fiction.
Yeah.
And you got to wonder about this. Like, for example, in the original Ant-Man movie, the enemy was trying to steal the suit, but he had that, I don't know what it was, that little gun that shrunk people into some little goo that turned them, like, just killed them, turned them into a pile of flesh. Like, you should have just sold that to the military and he would have been way better off.
Yeah.
So I can see, this kind of stuff, the pricker that kills you becomes instantly real when you talk about conspiracy theories, because you just prick somebody with a self-replicating RNA and 10 minutes later he blows up.
Yeah, exactly. There's no trace.
So what are some of the current methods being explored for synthesis of self-replicating RNA?
There's quite a few. So there's several methods that are being explored. What the thing is their aim is to overcome the limitations of traditional RNA synthesis and enable efficient production of complex functional RNA structures. One is enzymatic synthesis. The other one is chemical synthesis. We've got in vitro evolution. We've got non-enzymatic templated synthesis, which is I know it sounds like a lot, but it seeks to mimic the early stages of RNA-based life by exploring more of a template-directed synthesis. Then you have combination of multiple approaches as well. So because this is such a new technology, there's going to be so much that's going to be tried. And there's going to be so many new innovative strategies that are going to emerge as a result of this.
Yeah, we'll follow this, so stay tuned for future episodes so we stay on top of this technology, because it's interesting, fun, and scary. And our conspiracy hats get going once we start thinking about how far down the road it is. What do you got going on this week, John?
So next week I've got so first off we've got the CIX after party, which is going to be huge.
March 27th.
March 27th, Wednesday, March 27th, which is going to be good. Starting at 6:00. Get out there, get your tickets, get it early, get there early. It's great for networking. On Tuesday, I've got an AI meetup, so we're going to be that's Ryan Wong who's putting this on. So Gen AI talk. We're going to do some networking, and we're going to have an Uno tournament, which is kind of fun.
Nice. Is that in Toronto?
Yeah, that is at Loco Space.
Excellent. I'll be at CIX on the 26th. I might not be at the 27th because we got the after party and a few other things going on. If you buy your startup investor drinks tickets, go to startupdrinksto.com. If you buy it before Monday, I'll be drawing for two people will get free tickets to CIX, a $300 value. So go there and check it out. You can find
CIX
out
is
almost
a great conference for startups and investors. So yeah,
absolutely. I've talked to some of the people there, and it's there for every two founders, there's one investor. You're never going to get that ratio anywhere else. So if you want to talk to investors who are actively looking and start making connection, I know several startups that have been funded, got their first investors at CIX, and then went on to do amazing things. So the Canadian Innovation Exchange Awards program, it's a great place to go. Definitely check it out.
For sure.
And if people want to talk about government funding and sources of funding, where do they go?
Reach out to me on LinkedIn, John Irwin, Jon Irwin. Reach out to me. Easy to find. Reach out if you have any questions. Happy to help.
Jeff, definitely go to TorontoStarts.com/futurecheck and check out the podcast, or on Apple or Spotify. If you're stuck in your business and you're struggling to become profitable, find new clients, or take the next step, book us discovery call. Let's talk about how do we get you unstuck and make you profitable, moving to the next level. Just go to startupcoach.ca, and we'll see you next week.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Craig.
Wow,